Hello, my dear Scorpio. I want you to slow down for just a moment and feel the energy around you, not just the chaos outside, but the subtle shift underneath your skin, in your sleep, in the way your thoughts keep circling the same invisible thread. There is something coming, something you cannot see yet, but already feel. It is not a crisis, and it is not a coincidence. It is a signal, a thinning in the veil. A solar eclipse is on its way, and not like the ones you've experienced before. This one is partial, which means most people will dismiss it, overlook it, maybe even laugh it off. But not you, not Scorpio, because you know that what is hidden is often more powerful than what is seen. And this eclipse, though it will not blot out the entire sun, will move like a scalpel, not a sledgehammer. It will not destroy everything at once. It will choose, it will cut with precision, and it will go straight for the parts of your life you've been avoiding. The conversations you've been postponing, the emotions you've been storing away in corners you thought no one would look at. This isn't about fear. It's about truth. This eclipse, arriving on the threshold of seasonal shift, isn't just an astronomical event, it's a collision. The sun and moon are aligning, yes, but so are your crossroads. This is not just an ending, it is a forced alignment, one that will either magnify your strength or expose the parts of you still anchored in distraction. Avoidance. Ordiniel. And here's the thing, is Scorpio eclipses don't ask for your permission. They don't wait for you to be ready, they just arrive. And when they do, they either sweep you into alignment or break apart what no longer holds. So if you're holding on to something that's already expired, a version of yourself, a draining relationship, in a pattern that's killing your fire, this eclipse is coming for it. And the most dangerous mistake you could make is assuming you'll be fine if you just ride it out like always. No. Scorpio, this one's different, and you can feel it. It's not the chaos you've mastered in the past. It's a quiet unraveling, a pulling of threads from the inside, and the truth is, if you enter this eclipse unprepared, mentally scattered, emotionally entangled, spiritually distracted, you will feel its weight in ways you didn't expect. Not as a breakdown, but as a sudden fog, a loss of direction, a wave of exhaustion that has no name, no source, and no obvious cure. Because this eclipse doesn't knock at the front door, it slips in through the cracks, and once it's inside, it rearranges everything you've left unattended. Your focus, your energy, your future. It won't destroy your path, but it will test your grip on it. That's why now, before the shadow falls, is your moment. Not to manifest something new, not to chase or build or prove, but to clear, to strip down what's heavy, to name the thing you've been dragging like dead weight, to admit where you've outgrown something and have been too afraid to say it out loud. The message is not what do you want to bring in, it's what do you need to release before it rips itself away from you. Because this eclipse, Scorpio, is not interested in what you write on your vision board. It's coming for what you've been pretending not to carry. And you can either be intentional about what you release, or you can let the cosmos decide for you. So I'm not going to ask you to dream bigger. I'm going to ask you to get honest. Who still has access to your energy that shouldn't? What patterns are you replaying that leave you feeling smaller every time? What parts of your identity no longer fit, but you keep clinging to because they're familiar? This isn't a time to rise. This is a time to purge, because the soil needs to be cleared before new roots can grow. And Scorpio, you above all signs know what it means to burn something to the ground, so something truer can rise. You don't need a pep talk. You need a mirror. And this eclipse is about to hand it to you. In the coming days, you might feel more tired, more emotionally raw, less able to pretend. That's not weakness. That's the thinning of your own armor. That's the energy shifting around you and inside you. And if you don't slow down enough to feel it, to sit with it, to listen to what your body, your breath, your dreams are telling you, you will miss the message. This isn't about drama. It's about alignment. And alignment isn't always graceful. Sometimes it looks like breaking a pattern, like breaking your own silence, like breaking free from something you once begged the universe to give you. And Scorpio, if you've been hearing the same thought on loop lately, a name, a fear, a memory, a question you can't shake, it's not random. That repetition is the soul's signal. That is the crack where light is trying to get in. That is the place where the eclipse will press crease, and if you ignore it, it will press harder, not to punish you, but to wake you. Because this isn't just about you changing direction. It's about you reclaiming your compass. So in the next part of this message, we'll look at the 9 actions you must take before the eclipse reaches you, not because you need to be perfect, but because the shadow is coming, and you deserve to meet it with clarity. You don't need to fix everything, but you do need to get real. Stay with me. Scorpio. The next step is where the shift begins. Scorpio. There's something you need to understand before you step into the days ahead. This eclipse is not arriving in isolation. It is aligning with something far older, something far more ancient than the moon's shadow across the sun. And that is the turning of the earth itself. Because this moment does not just fall under the influence of a solar eclipse, it falls at the razor's edge of seasonal transition near the equinox, when light and dark meet in exact measure, and the entire natural world holds its breath between one cycle and the next. And that balance, that sacred pause between seasons, is not just a shift in the calendar. It is a rupture in the energetic field, a moment where the wheel turns with pressure, where the forces of transformation are not subtle, not soft, but absolute. And you, Scorpio, who are already built to move between the worlds of shadow and truth, are being asked to face this convergence of cosmic events with full presence. Because the pressure that comes during an eclipse is one thing, but when it collides with the equinox, a natural tipping point, it becomes something else entirely. A kind of spiritual gravity that doesn't just pull at your mind. It pulls at your nervous system, your heartbeat, your sleep rhythms, your emotional equilibrium, and most of all, your inner alignment, because the equinox does not allow half-truths to hide anymore. It shines a symmetrical light on both what you show the world and what you have been hiding from yourself. And when that light meets the surgical darkness of a partial eclipse, it doesn't create peace, it creates a test. You may already be feeling it in ways you haven't connected yet, a strange heaviness in the body that doesn't match your schedule, an unusual tension in your thoughts, waves of restlessness that show up at night and don't leave until morning, dreams that carry symbols, messages, fragments of things you haven't thought about in years. And this isn't just exhaustion or distraction. It's the thinning of the energetic veil, the same one that always grows more fragile around equinoxes, when nature itself balances its weight before tipping forward again. And this year, the timing is exact. The layers are stacking, and if you're not grounded, if you're not prepared, you might mistake this sacred recalibration for chaos. You might think you're unraveling when really you're being realigned. You might believe you're being pulled apart when really you're being shown the places where your foundation was never solid to begin with. And Scorpio, you are too wise to miss this opportunity by calling it discomfort and brushing it off. Because this eclipse is not happening in a vacuum, it is slamming directly into a global moment of transition. A collective pressure point where people are already on edge, already shifting, already sensing that something unseen is moving through the cracks of their everyday lives. And you, as someone who feels more than you admit, are absorbing it faster than most. But instead of fighting it, I want you to observe it. Because what feels like internal chaos may actually be your system trying to recalibrate in advance of the bigger wave that's coming. And you cannot afford to walk into this eclipse still pretending not to feel it, still clinging to what is familiar just because it is known, still repeating stories that no longer match who you are becoming. Because when the shadow passes, it will not wait for you to catch up. It will strip away anything that isn't rooted. And that includes identities you've outgrown, relationships that are quietly draining you, ambitions that were built on an outdated version of your power. This is why seasonal thresholds matter, because they mark more than time. They mark initiations. And the equinox in particular demands one thing: balance. And not the kind of balance you perform for the world, but the kind that lives underneath your choices, underneath your reactions, underneath the stories you tell about your own survival. And when a solar eclipse strikes at the same time, it's like being held to the fire and the mirror at once. You are not only being asked what needs to end, you are being asked to witness why you've been delaying it. And that witnessing, Scorpio, is not for the faint of heart. But it is what you came here to do, to see what others cannot see, to name what others are afraid to name, and to move when others would rather stay stuck. And that's why this moment matters so much more than you realize. Because it's not just about letting go, it's about doing it with clarity, with readiness, with grace, before the eclipse does it for you. And you must remember, this eclipse does not destroy to punish. It removes to reveal. And the only question that matters right now is this: are you willing to let go of what no longer fits before it becomes a liability? Or will you wait and be forced to watch it be torn from you at the worst possible time? Because that is the nature of eclipses at equinox. They don't wait for permission. They don't ask if you're emotionally ready. They sweep through and make space, whether you're holding on or not. And what you do in these days before the shift will determine the tone of what follows. So if you've been ignoring the signs, if you've been hoping it will just pass, if you've been delaying the conversation, postponing the decision, numbing the truth with distractions, this is your last moment to pause and realign. Because once the light dims and the threshold tips, everything unstable will be called into question. So, Scorpio, take this message seriously, not because it's dramatic, but because it's sacred. The equinox is not just a line on a calendar. It is a moment where the earth breathes in silence and asks you to do the same. And in that stillness, just before the sky darkens, you will be offered a final chance to decide what version of yourself you are willing to carry forward. And if you choose truth, if you choose presence, if you choose to walk through this shadow awake, then what lies on the other side of this eclipse will not break you. It will clarify you, refine you, and return to you everything that has been waiting for you to release what you were never meant to hold. And in the next part of this message, we'll begin to explore what specific actions must be taken to honor this passage, not just astrologically, but emotionally, energetically, and karmically, so you don't just survive this eclipse. Scorpio, you rise from it sharper, lighter, and finally free from the weight that was never yours to begin with. Stay close. It's almost time, Scorpio. Now that you understand the gravity of what's approaching, a solar eclipse arriving at the threshold of seasonal change, it's time to prepare, not reactively, but intentionally, because your future alignment depends not on what you hope for, but on what you clear before the shadow falls. And in this kind of cosmic moment, where energy is fragile and raw, where the veil is thin and words carry weight, you cannot afford to move unconsciously through your days. So I need you to begin now, with clarity and care, starting first with the practice of clearing old energy, which means looking at every connection, every habit, every conversation you're still keeping alive out of guilt, habit, or fear of loneliness. and being radically honest about what is already energetically expired. Because Scorpio, for you of all signs, know when something is energetically done, even if you don't want to admit it, and when you keep pouring your time, your attention, your essence into people or projects that have already drained you, you are not being kind. You are being drained. And that leak is exactly what this eclipse will expose. So, cut the cords. Not with bitterness, but with reverence. Close the tabs that never lead anywhere. Step out of rooms where your soul feels silent, and give yourself permission to unplug from anything that no longer feeds your spirit. Because you cannot enter a new cycle weighed down by what was never meant to follow you there. And after you've cleared that space, the next step is to move into stillness. Not the passive kind, but the protective kind. I want you to hold your plans close, especially now, because the energy is still unstable. And the more you speak your intentions aloud too early, the more you expose them to interpretation, projection, or resistance. And during an eclipse portal, that exposure can distort or delay what was otherwise meant for you. So treat your goals like seeds, not confessions. Let them root in silence before you share them with others. And remember that the most powerful things you'll do during this season are often done quietly, behind the scenes, without applause or permission. Because transformation does not need a witness to be real. And while you're in that quiet space, start paying attention to your dreams, especially the ones that repeat, because your subconscious will be more active now than ever before. And what shows up at night is not random, it's encoded guidance. Sometimes chaotic, sometimes symbolic, but always meaningful. So write them down, even if they don't make sense. Trace the patterns. Notice the emotions they evoke. Because the eclipse stirs your psyche in ways your conscious mind can't process yet. And if the same image or memory returns more than once, take it seriously. Because it may be pointing you to what still needs closure or what's ready to emerge. And in between those dream-encoded messages and your waking hours, you must also be fierce with your boundaries. This is not the time to casually engage with people whose energy leaves you drained, anxious, or unsure of yourself. So avoid energy vampires, even the subtle ones, the ones who always need something but never give back, the ones who mask manipulation as kindness, the ones who keep you tethered to old versions of yourself just by being near. Because right now, your energy field is open and more sensitive than usual. And whatever you allow near you will either stabilize or destabilize you. And you have the right, Scorpio, to protect your peace. Even if it makes you seem cold, it's not coldness. It's energetic hygiene. And while you're cleansing your field externally, there's something else, just as vital. Stop reaching for your phone first thing in the morning. Because in these heightened energetic days, your nervous system needs to wake up with your soul, not with someone else's agenda. And the moment you scroll, click, read, compare, you hand over your energy before your own frequency has even had a chance to settle. And that leaves you scattered, more reactive, more porous to the world's noise than you realize. So reclaim your mornings, even if it's just 5 minutes of quiet, of breath, of stillness before the digital world floods in. Because those first moments of the day shape how you receive everything else. And once you've done that, I want you to ask yourself a harder question. Are you moving too fast to feel? Because this eclipse will tempt you to stay busy, to keep producing, fixing, optimizing. But that rhythm, the constant doing, is not a virtue right now. It is a distraction. And the message here is not to do more, but to do less with more presence, to choose rest even when your mind says you haven't earned it, to value your nervous system more than your to-do list. Because burnout is not noble and silence is not lazy. It's protective. And in that stillness, in that slowing down, I want you to begin treating your energy field like it's sacred because it is, and that means developing rituals to seal and strengthen it. Whether that's cleansing with water, prayer, salt, smoke, visualization, or simply setting boundaries at the start of each day, reminding yourself that not every emotion you feel is yours to carry. Not every request deserves your response. And not every connection should be allowed into your space during an energetic window. And that brings me to another layer of protection, honoring silence, not just as a pause, but as a portal, because in the coming days, your deepest clarity will arrive in moments when nothing is happening on the outside. So if you can resist the urge to fill every gap with noise, you will begin to hear what your intuition has been whispering all along. The soft guidance that only emerges when your mind is quiet enough to receive it. And finally, Scorpio, I need you to be radically mindful of your words, especially now, because during an eclipse, every word you speak carries more weight, more charge, more impact than usual, and negative statements, even offhanded ones, can act like spells, anchoring you to fears you're meant to outgrow. So, speak with care. And if you don't have something aligned to say, stay quiet, not out of fear, but out of wisdom, because your voice is powerful and your vibration is being recorded, not just by others, but by the field around you. And what you say now will echo for weeks to come. So choose resonance over reaction, truth over noise. And when in doubt, pause, Scorpio, what you must understand. Now deeply, not just in theory but in your bones, is that during an eclipse, energy does not behave in the usual ways. It expands, it intensifies, it multiplies. Whatever you're holding inside you, whether it's fear, doubt, hope, désir, grief, longing, or clarity will not stay small. It will stretch across your field and reflect back to you through people, situations, emotions, and patterns. Sometimes so quickly it will feel like fate. But in truth, it is just energy responding to energy, faster and sharper than usual. This is why so many people feel unstable or emotional during eclipse windows, because they're meeting the consequences of thoughts and emotions they haven't yet owned. And for you, Scorpio, a sign born under the domain of depth and transformation. This means that anything you think, say, feel, or do during this time will leave a mark, not just on your outer life, but on your inner architecture. These days are not neutral. They are magnifiers. They are energetic amplifiers. They take the quiet murmur of your unconscious and turn it into a loud echo that shapes what comes next. And so you cannot afford to move unconsciously right now. If you speak from a wound, the echo will deepen the wound. If you act from fear, the fear will multiply. But if you choose stillness, even when chaos tries to pull you in, the stillness will open a path. If you speak with clarity, even if your voice is trembling, the clarity will anchor you. If you feel your anger but choose not to act from it, if you acknowledge your pain but refuse to punish yourself or others with it, then something profound happens. You break the loop. You interrupt the karmic pattern that has kept you circling the same emotional terrain for years. And that is the secret doorway of this eclipse. It doesn't reward those who perform perfection. It rewards those who consciously step out of their cycles, who say no more, not in rage, but in truth, those who honor their energy like it's sacred. Those who stop repeating what they know is already expired. If you are willing to clean your field, to pull your energy back from places it doesn't belong, to release the grudges, the roles, the masks you've been taught to wear, you will feel the air shift around you. It might not be immediate, but it will be undeniable. You will feel your breath move easier in your chest. You will sleep deeper. Your dreams will become messages instead of mirrors. And one day soon, maybe not loudly, maybe not dramatically, you will notice a new option appear where before there was only stuckness, a doorway, a phone call, a sudden knowing that you don't have to go backward anymore. That is what this eclipse brings for those who respect its medicine. Because the truth is, Scorpio, not everyone will make it through this transition unchanged. Many will fight it. Many will cling. Many will self-destruct and call it destiny. But you, if you choose to face this moment with awareness and humility, you won't just survive it. You'll cross a threshold. You'll step into a version of yourself that's been waiting for your consent. Not perfect. Not finished. And so, Scorpio, if you've been feeling like something's coming, you're right. But it's not coming to break you. It's coming to strip away what was never really you to begin with. The eclipse doesn't destroy, it reveals, and when it aligns with the turning of the season, it doesn't just ask for change, it requires it. This is not about being ready, it's about being real. So choose your silence. Protect your light. Speak only when it strengthens your truth. And if you've already let go of what needed to fall away, then trust that what remains is enough to carry you forward, not into chaos, but into clarity. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are just at the gate of something new, and the universe, whether you feel it or not, is already opening the door. Take a breath. Walk through it. We'll meet again on the other side of the shadow.